How's it going, guys? So today we're going to learn how to make this animation with the sole purpose of highlighting a very specific color trick that I've been doing in some of my animations. So let's talk about the color trick first, then we'll make the animation. In this case, I have some glass bricks that I want to use a noise texture as a light behind it in order to color it and to light the scene. Now I want to add some color, but the problem is because of the way that the noise texture is built, you have a gradient from the middle to the sides, and that is the only way you can distribute color. So you have a color in the middle, and then as it goes to the edge, you have another color. That is the only pattern you can use if you want to use the noise texture that's creating those darks and those lights. Instead of being restricted by that, we're going to use a set of nodes, use a second texture, and use the first texture to reveal the second texture that's creating the color. So now we get a natural distribution of color within the pattern that we want to use, showcase our highlights and our darks. I use that technique on this animation right here, which is a tutorial that is available right now on YouTube if you want to try it out on a different idea, and it's completely easy. And I also use the same exact trick on these animations here. All of them are exclusively available on Patreon, and you can learn some really cool stuff, and there is a lot more available on Patreon. So if you want to check that out, that's linked in the description, along with project files and all that fun stuff. It's one of my favorite tricks I've done recently, so let's go ahead and make this animation. So first let's model some bricks. So let's get a cube, I'm gonna hit tab, I'm gonna click this move button, hold down control, and just get my anchor point to be at the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and use the scale tool to bring it down and bring it up like this, just sort of deciding how I want my brick to look. Really, it's not super deep or important. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit Control A, apply that scale. I'm going to hit tab, go up here to the face select, select this face, and then hit I to inset and bring it around right about here. And then what we'll do is we'll just bring it up. Now we have this guy, and I'm going to hit tab, Control A, and apply scale. And then all we need to do is go ahead and get a bevel modifier. So BEV and the modifiers, grab a bevel, and then just give it 4 segments and then bevel it in right about here. Right click and shade auto smooth. Now let's go ahead and add a material to it. I'm going to go here to the EV or to the material preview, click the material, and we're going to go ahead and go from principled to glass BSDF and then bring down just a tiny bit of roughness. Now I'll just title this, call this a brick, and then we'll remove it right up here from the view. Shift A, we'll get a plane, and we're going to do some very simple geometry nodes just so that we can make it fit. So click on geometry nodes. I'm going to go here to the top, click new, and I'm going to go ahead and get a grid. Let's go ahead and get a grid. Plug that right here. I'm going to do 16 by 9, and then I'm going to go here to the wireframe view just so I can get some geometry into the scene, maybe 6 by 6. And now we're going to do a Shift A search mesh to points, and very important, I want this to be on the faces. And the reason why is we're going to duplicate this geometry and create a wireframe with it. So I want to make sure that the bricks stay within that so the wireframe is going to work. Otherwise, we would just do an instance on points and leave it. So let's now do a instance on points node. From the outliner, drag in your brick and then plug geometry into instance. And then we'll just go ahead and scale it down. So now we have our bricks, and then now we can start adding them here in the vertices. So bring your vertices. Mine was 39 by 9. So let's see, 39 by 9. And then we can just go ahead and scale them up to fit. So let's see, get them to fit. But we want to have a little bit of gap in between them for the wireframe. And then right here in the size Y, we'll just get the gap to kind of match. There we go. Now we have a wall of bricks. What I want to do now is take this, hit Shift D, and then right click. And then right up here where it says geometry nodes, just click the number 2. And then right here in the outline, we'll just call this one wireframe. And then we'll just bring this over and overdo those other nodes, and we can delete them. And now we have plane that what's going to happen is if we go into wireframe view, you can see how the faces line up with the bricks. So that means if I go here to the modifiers and I get a wireframe modifier, it's going to fit right in between the bricks and give this really nice, like mildly realistic mortar. And then we'll just go ahead get a bevel node, and then just maybe 2 segments, right click, shade smooth, and get this like mildly realistic mortar. In fact, because it's geometry nodes, we need to get a set shade smooth node here. So there we go. It will look pretty cool. So now if we go here to the preview, because we added material to the original brick, we don't need to do it in geometry nodes. And then this one here, need to go set material. And then in the wireframe, we'll just give it a metallic, shiny metal mortar. So there we go. Now let's go ahead and focus on the background, which is really what this whole video is going to be about. So I'm going to hit the tilde key, go to a top view, get a camera, I'm going to hit 0, and then G and middle click, and get a good angle on all of my bricks. Now let's go straight to shading, hit Shift A and get a plane, and scale it up. And then I'm just going to hit G and bring it down a little bit. This part does not mean to need to be exact. So just get a background that fully encapsulates it. Control A, apply that scale. And then we are in the shader workspace. So first, let's go here to cycles. Make sure you are in cycles here. Let's go here to the light paths and bring transparent to 0, volume to 0, transmission to 3, glossy to 2, diffuse to 0, and total of 3. So that is going to be the most optimized we need to be for glass in this scenario. And then hit F3, we can get a render region. So let's get on this bottom plane right here. We'll just call it light in the outliner if we want. Click new, and let's delete the principled and get a emission node. Plug this into surface, and now we have a light at the bottom. So everything is going to start making sense once we get a color ramp and a noise texture. So plug a color ramp into the color and a noise texture. And if you have the Node Wrangler add-on enabled, we are going to hit Control T, use an object coordinate, and plug that here. So now we're getting closer to the whole point of this video. So let's bring this color ramp in, bring the detail down to 0, and bring the scale up. And then I'm going to go ahead here on the light, click on the light in the outliner, go to the object properties, and just bring it a little bit lower. The lower we go, the better it's going to look with these glass blocks. Though if you go too low, it will get really ugly and muddy. So try to find a way before we start getting this back to be distorted. Bring your world brightness down to black. Okay, so now we have this. You can bring up the strength of the light. What usually looks really, really nice is here on this color ramp, we'll switch it from linear to B-spline. We'll get another node and make it black. And then now we can have a little bit more control over the fall off, and it's going to look really pretty. Okay, so here's the whole scenario that this video exists under. Let's actually switch this over to ease to make the demonstration a little more obvious. So I demonstrated this already in the middle of the video, but let's show how it works in this context as well. I want to add some color into the scene, and I want 2, maybe even 3 colors. So I'm going to go with a nice teal, and in the middle, I'm going to go with like a kind of a purple, darker purple. So to get those colors to be revealed, to actually see them, we are restricted to this kind of format, middle out. Any color we add is going to be restricted to that look. And that can look really cool. It is an option, but we don't want to be restricted by options. We want to say, I like this shape, right? So if I go back and I just pick that, like say like we like this shape, but I want to add color within it. So let's do that. I'm gonna switch this back over to white, and then go back to B-spline, get another node and make it black, and then bring this in. And so let's have a little bit of control over how this looks. You can switch this over to 4D, and you can play with it like that. I'm gonna bring my detail up just a little bit so it's a little bit more organic and less like obvious that it's a noise texture. So here's how we do it. Here's the whole point of the video. Let's go get a mix color node and plug this into factor and make A black. The black portion, A, is going to represent all the dark portions of this scene. And now we want to focus on this part. Let's add some color in an interesting cool way. So let's show you the first version. So let's get a color ramp and a noise texture. Brand new noise texture. And we'll plug that into the original mapping factor here. So now you can see we have some new detail within here. So what I'll do is we're going to get two interesting colors. Now, a lot of times where I get color inspiration is Pinterest. It is the best place to get color inspiration. If you don't know where to look, go on Pinterest, look at motion graphics, and then you can literally color pick. If you have two monitors, if you have a image on the second monitor, you can go here, click color pick, and click on the other monitor, and it will pick that color. That is how I get really cool ideas for colors, is by looking at references and trying out those colors. In my case, I'm going to use the colors that are in my original file. So I'm going to go here and get a nice dark blue. And then we're going to get, I don't even really know what to call this other than kind of like a pink. I mean, it's literally a pink. So we have these two colors, and I want to distribute them in a natural looking way. So bring the detail to 0, bring the scale up, and now we get these two colors distributed in our scene in what I think is a really nice looking, organic looking way. And now you have two really cool colors. What if I want to have maybe 4 colors or just another set of colors that's interacting with the colors that I have now? You can 100% do that. This is this is like the easy version. Let's add another level of detail and color distribution. So now you have this. We have 2 colors. It kind of works best if you're doing 2 colors. Once you add a third, it starts to look a little more textury. So we're going to get another mixed color. I'm going to hit Control-Shift-D and duplicate. And then I'm going to switch over to B so we can look at this color ramp. And I'm just going to copy literally my colors from my file. I don't want to have to come up with a whole new idea. You can go ahead and do whatever color you want. So I want this top one to now kind of play with 2 right now we have this really cool distribution of orange, and then over here you have this nice blue, and let's mix the 2 of them with another noise texture. Both of them are being operated by the same texture, and we'll use a brand new one. So let's get a color ramp, and I'll just give myself some space here. We'll get a new noise texture mapping here and then here. So now we get this. So now we know what to do. Bring that scale down, bring this up, and then we'll just really slice through the 2 of these. There we go. So now, I mean, it's not that great looking, but this is how we can kind of play with that. And then we can switch over to 4D and really mess with how this looks. So would I do this color combo? No. Probably not. Maybe we can shift him over to more of a blue. And so now we can have it like mix between this nice teal, this darker blue, and then these 2 red and orange within the same space. And it looks really cool. And now we're done. Now all we need to do is animate it. So first, let's go here to the compositor, click new. Let's go to glare node and switch this over to bloom. So that's all we need to do there. And then head back to shading. I'm gonna hit the drop down to look at always so that we can make sure, okay, there is some glowing. And then the animation is gonna come from this top noise texture. And then you can also animate these colors if you want to. That is entirely up to you. So I'm gonna bring this in so it's just a little bit more selective and more interesting. And then maybe even bring in a little bit of distortion so it's a little bit kind of an organic look. Okay. So let's render this and call it a day. So we're going to loop the noise like we always do here. So bring your W to 0. I'm gonna hit Control-Shift-D or just duplicate the noise and connect the mapping. We're gonna get a mix color node and then plug factor to factor. There we go. Okay, so let's hit I on the W, I on the factor, and we do need to get a timeline. So we need to go clear the keyframes. So go back, make sure you go back to frame 0. I'm gonna hit I on the W, I on the factor, go to the very end, and I'm gonna do maybe a speed of 3, hit I on, and then bring the factor over, hit I, hit I on the W, go back to frame 0 and do -3 because we did +3 up top, and hit I. There we go. Very slow movement. Let's bring it up to maybe a value of 6 and -6. It's a little more satisfying. Sweet. So let's just look at this as a final render. Give ourselves our glow. And now we have these beautiful glowing blocks that you can do anything you want with personal work, professional work, some really cool ideas within this really cool set. So there you go. That's how you do it. If you want to go ahead and render it, I highly recommend doing a PNG sequence. I would say 150 samples, and then pick where you want to render it. You do a PNG, and then for me at 1080p, with those optimized render settings, it's going to be about 3, almost 4 seconds for a frame. So even if you have a low-end computer, this shouldn't take, it shouldn't take a huge amount of time to render, especially if you optimize those settings. And this is a really beautiful animation, so it's definitely worth waiting for. My last thing I'm going to do is just bring the brightness of my light a little bit higher. So there you go. That's how I am distributing color in my animations lately, being able to have the freedom within that to not be restricted to the shape of the texture, but you can use other textures within textures and color them any way that you want. It's going to give you a lot more flexibility and have a lot more fun with combining more colors and getting some really, really cool stuff. So hope you learned something. Hope you took away some cool stuff from this. Again, have a couple new exclusive tutorials on Patreon right now if you want to check those out. Linked in the description, and I'll see you in the next one.